Title: the UFC doesn't want Arman Tsarukyan to be champion. Here's why. Arman Tsarukyan is one win away from becoming UFC champion, but for some reason, the UFC doesn't want that to happen. On paper, he's done everything right. He beats top contenders, he's young, he's marketable, so why is his title shot quietly disappearing? This isn't about rankings, it's not about wins, and it definitely isn't about skill. It's about money, control, and a system the UFC never wants you to see. And once you understand how it works, you'll never look at title shots the same way again. Because in the UFC, winning isn't the same as being chosen. There's a difference between being the best and being the most useful. Arman Tsarukyan checks every box fans care about: elite skills, relentless pressure, that a highlight reel style that breaks opponents. But the UFC doesn't build champions around skills, they build them around stories. And right now, Arman doesn't fit the story they want to tell. Not because he can't sell fights, but because he can't be controlled the same way. Look at the fighters who get fast-tracked. Notice the patterns, the timing, the matchups. This isn't random, it's strategic. Because a champion isn't just a belt holder, they're a brand, a bargaining chip, and sometimes a liability. So when a fighter becomes too independent, too expensive, or too dangerous to the wrong people, the system slows them down. And Arman Tsarukyan may be walking straight into that wall.
One more time you say you don't respect me, I'm gonna f you up.
In this video, I'm going to show you how title shots are really decided, why some contenders wait years, and why being too good can actually work against you. To understand what's happening to Arman Tsarukyan, you first have to understand how the UFC actually works. Because the UFC isn't a sport in the traditional sense, it's a promotion, and promotions don't reward fairness, they reward leverage. Here's something most fans don't realize. The rankings don't decide title shots, they justify them. The real decisions happen behind closed doors, where risk is calculated, money is protected, and control matters more than momentum, and we've seen this before. Fighters who were clearly next in line suddenly stuck waiting or passed over entirely.
After when I went to sleep, I started to feel my lower back and I couldn't sleep all night, and I woke up, like maybe I slept like 30 minutes for the whole night, I don't know.
Not because they weren't good enough, but because they were inconvenient, too dominant, too hard to market, or too independent to manage. Now look at Arman Tsarukyan. He doesn't just win, he overwhelms. His style isn't flashy, it's exhausting. That's great for winning fights, but it's risky for selling pay-per-views. Now add something else into the equation. Money. When a fighter starts earning outside the cage, building leverage beyond the UFC.
One point, to be from the rich family is good too. You can do whatever you want and you don't think about money, you know, your head just focus on your fighting.
They become harder to control. They don't need to rush. They don't need to beg. And they don't need to accept bad deals. That changes the balance of power. So instead of saying no, the system delays. One more fight, one more test. Just wait. And before fans realize what's happening, momentum disappears. So the question isn't whether Arman deserves a title shot. The real question is, does the UFC benefit from giving him one right now? Because in this system, being the best doesn't always mean being next. So when you strip everything away, the rankings, the narratives, the excuses, this is what it really comes down to. The UFC's system is built on leverage, and leverage only works when the carrot works. The promise of a title, the promise of a payday, the promise of one more win. That carrot keeps fighters moving forward, accepting risks, taking short notice fights, and staying flexible. But Arman Tsarukyan is different, because the carrot doesn't work the same way on someone who doesn't need it.
The opportunity to Arman. I'm the world champion. I'm never gonna give him a chance to fight for the title. I will be like, listen, if that's the case, take my belt.
Ilya, stop running, Ilya. Stop running, Ilya.
When a fighter is financially independent, when they don't rely on the next contract to survive, the balance shifts. They can say no. They can wait. They can negotiate. And in a system that's built on employer-employee dynamics, that independence creates tension. Not because it's wrong, not because it's malicious, but because it breaks the usual incentives. The UFC doesn't just need champions, they need champions who fit the structure. And when a fighter can't be guided by timing, or nudged by opportunity, or motivated by urgency, the system responds the only way it knows how. It slows them down.
I watched the rankings. Arman is a #1 contender, and all my life I told people I want to fight with the real contender who deserve high-level fighters.
So instead of being rewarded for doing everything right, Arman finds himself having to do more. More wins, more dominance, more proof. He doesn't just have to be next. He has to be undeniable, and that's the real tension. Not skill versus skill, not rankings versus rankings, but control versus independence.
Like always confident on myself, so I thought I'm gonna win 100% that fight because I'm a good wrestler, I'm a good striker, but like I didn't have good experience that moment and like good time, you know. I didn't have enough time to get ready for that fight. So
until that gap is reconciled, until Arman proves beyond any doubt that the system has no other choice, he'll be held to a higher standard than everyone else. And whether that's fair or not depends on who you think the UFC is built for.